If I'm going to do a video on the top 5 best things about MLP, I'm going to need a co-host, a collaborator, a brother-in-arms. I've made tons of contacts within the analysis community. I bet they're all just dying to work with me.
Hey cannedcream, it's Looney. I'd love to do a collab with you, but due to some pony messing with their magic, we'll have to wait until a later date. But make sure to clean up the place, maybe even repaint the background. If I remember right, it's a bluish green? Ugh. Go green or go blue, not in between. Ugh. Well, get back to me later. I'm off to get Looney a shell of some sort.
Greetings, Mr. Cream, it's Brawny. How are you doing? Sorry I missed your call earlier. It sounds like an interesting idea, but I don't fully agree with you on your points, so it might be a better topic for, say, an episode of Brony Debates, perhaps. Also, beyond that, I'm really busy at the moment, so unfortunately, no, I can't help you with this project.
Sorry, Cam, there's this video about a drawing and a fanfiction at the Sprite Art game I must listen to before Mr. Wolf rides in on Silver and then the turtle.
This is a recording. I'm afraid Biter is busy at the moment, but if you would like to leave a message after the bleep, he will get back to you. Bleep.
As I already told you, stop calling this number. We don't need any more of your analysts all over the place here. It is already crazy enough with him and his stupid videos.
Hey D, who is it?
Nobody, just one of your analysts can say hi or something.
Oh, that's cool. Saying hi back.
As you can clearly hear, he is completely swamped with work, so leave us alone and stop calling.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. This can still work. I'll just do it myself. Good thing I swiped this potion from Zakura's. Distilled water from the mirror pond. If you want a collab done right, do it yourself. With yourself. And into his own reflection he stared, yearning for one whose reflection he shared, and solemnly sweared not to be scared at the prospect of being doubly stallioned. Whatever. Oh, my head. Oh, this must be how Jim Fear feels every morning. Oh, sweet Luna, it worked! What the... Well now, this is interesting. It seems I've been given life. Hi, I'm cannedcream, but you can just call me CC for short. Except you knew that already because you are me, kinda. Actually, you don't really look like me. That's because I'm not you, you blithering idiot. Then who are you? I'm every cruel thought you ever had. I'm every drop of jealousy you've ever felt. I'm your anger, your hatred, your envy, your greed. I'm every little bit of yourself you've ever tried to keep locked up, given form. Well, that seems a little contrived, but okay, cool, we'll go with that. I'm gonna call you Discandcord. You will do no such thing. My name is Loathing. And stop being impressed. You're supposed to be intimidated by me. It's kinda hard to take you seriously when you're talking in that bad British accent. It's not British. It's an evil monotone. Sounds British to me. Shut up! I will rip you in half. Do you hear me? Hey, look, I still got a video to make, so you gonna help out or not? What's the topic? The top 5 best things about MLP. Ugh, how predictably you. How about we make this video more interesting? And how's that? I'm going to give a list of the 5 major faults with this series. If you can convince me I'm wrong, then I'll go away. If not, then I take over your crappy little channel. That sounds terrible. Why would I agree to that? Because if you don't, I'll gut you like a fish and then take it anyway. Well, when you put it like that, how can I say no? Good boy. Listen up, foals. My name is Loathing, and today I'll be telling you about the 5 worst things about MLP. Roll the cutaway.
My little pony, my little pony. I hate everything.
To start at the beginning of this list means to start at the beginning of the episodes, and the first problem that rolls in with it, the often terrible exposition. Nearly every episode opens with one character or another explaining aloud the situation at hand to everyone around her, despite those same others clearly knowing what the said situation is.
Yeah, but that's for the audience, not the characters. They may know what's going on, but we don't.
Then find the time to do so that doesn't involve clunky monologues. It's not how normal people talk, and it distracts from the episode. Take Tradia, for example. Pinky explains the entire situation to the group as they're stepping off the train at the trade exchange. So clearly they all already knew what was happening. Or what? Did they all just wait not to talk about it until they got there? Did Twilight force them all onto the train and say, "Hey, don't worry about it, just shut up and get in"?
How else were they supposed to explain these kind of things? We have to know what's going on, and they only have 22 minutes to show us.
Then show us at the same time as the characters are discovering it. Make the time in the episode. Cut out the unimportant scenes like Spike's comic book deal or half of Rarity and AJ arguing. You've already seen that 100 times. They're different. We get it, MLP. Cut out the unimportant parts. Stop shoehorning every character into every episode when they don't need to be. Make the time!
It's just the setup, not the actual story. The more time spent getting into the main plot, the less of it we're actually going to see. Sure, they may be clunky sometimes, but a few short seconds of awkward writing is better than a full episode of it.
That is fair. But speaking of characters, let's talk about their degeneration.
What do you mean? All our main cast has been growing and maturing. We've seen it in the main 6 and the CMC. Heck, even a few of the background characters are at least being allowed to shine.
And that's all well and good when it happens. But for every one thing the show does right, it gives us another that makes me wonder if they're even trying. How many times do we need to see Rarity and Applejack learn to accept each other despite their differences? How many times does Rainbow Dash need to learn to stop being selfish? How many bloody times does Fluttershy need to learn to stop being afraid of everything? 4 seasons in and these things are still happening.
People and ponies don't change overnight. No one can just alter their personality in an instant. Yes, Rainbow is still a little selfish, but that's a core part of who she is, and she is learning to control it. Look at how quickly she comes to her senses in Tradia. That never would have happened that fast even 1 season ago. Heck, back in season 1, some pony would probably have to directly call her out in order for her to see her mistake. And the same goes for Flutters. She is learning to control her shyness. But she will always be shy. She will always prefer small groups of close friends to big crowds. And as for AJ and Rarity, they are different. And they are going to fight. That's just the fact of life. Friends will fight. But if you're real friends, you learn to get over it and move on. Maybe they're not always presented in the best of ways. Like, is the gang really shocked to find that Fluttershy has stage fright? Really? But there is a clear sign of progression.
Yeah? Then explain, Spike.
How do you mean?
Item 3. The mistreatment of Spike. Name me one moment that kid has been allowed to be anything except the butt of a joke this season.
Power ponies.
Oh, you mean the episode where this happens?
He's just there for comic relief. I'm humdrum. Almost all of us have superpowers.
Why in all of Metropolis would I use the hairspray ray of doom on you? Rather pointless, don't you think?
Even in his own story arc, Spike is pretty much just a joke. This season, Spike has been nothing but life's chew toy. Now, I love the suffering of others as much as the next evil embodiment of an Analyzer OC, but even I'm starting to get uncomfortable.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. It's like the staff doesn't know what to do with him anymore, or lost all interest in him entirely. At least before, he played an important part in the series, often being Twilight's lifeline back to sanity whenever she got too lost inside of her own fears. But now that Twilight's learned to more or less control her anxieties, Spike is without a purpose. He just shows up, gets crapped on by twisted karma, and then vanishes again. Likely locked in a closet somewhere like an old broom.
Yeah, or maybe he's out getting his second head removed.
But what?
Oh yes, Spike has 2 heads now. Oh, you didn't notice? You and the editing staff are about the only ones who didn't.
Oh, that's just an animation error. It's not really a big deal.
Except this is an animated show, so it kinda is. And it keeps happening.
This show is made with Flash. You have to expect some errors.
And so should the editors. They know better than any of us how these can occur, and yet, somehow, we keep getting one-eyed ponies, 3-eared silver spoons, and ventriloquist Twilight.
So what? What do they really take away from the episode? What do they really ruin? Half the time they're so minor and small that you'd never see them.
But they are there, and the staff should be better at finding them and editing them out. They're a large, well-funded studio producing one of the most popular cartoons currently on TV. This is the Hub's moneymaker. You'd think they'd be trying a little harder.
But you're only seeing the mistakes they didn't catch. Who knows how many they fixed? And we'll never know because of that very editing you're preaching for.
Yes, fine, maybe.
And besides, if it weren't for those very errors, we never would have gotten Derpy Who's. Easily one of the most beloved characters in the show. Come on, Loathing. Even you have to admit you like her.
Okay, I do. Her disfigurement makes me laugh.
Wow. I have some demons.
Tell me about it.
So what's the final item on your rant list?
So glad you asked. It's the often rushed third acts and resolutions. If MLP is bad about expositioning us into a story, then they're just as bad with providing the resolution to close it out. Sometimes it's well done, but more often than not we go through an entire episode of conflict for it just to be solved by a simple speech and a few reassuring words as the moral of the story is beaten into us. It's as if only 1 or 2 of the writers on the staff even know what bloody pacing is. This is a problem that can easily be fixed, too. That's the annoying part. Just like with the poorly handled setups, just make the time to have the story ease into its resolution by cutting out unnecessary parts and characters. It's no coincidence that the stories with the best endings are the ones that don't try to split the limelight 6 ways.
But it's a cartoon. And cartoons are about conflict. That is where the entertainment lies. Our hero trades blows with his obstacle and antagonist back and forth until he lands the final punch.
But how many times must the moral be browbeaten into us?
I got news for you there, man. That's the style of the show. It's what they do. What you're saying would be like watching Breaking Bad and asking why there has to be so much meth. It's a core theme. If that's not something you can get over, then maybe the show isn't something you should be watching in the first place.
I suppose that makes sense.
Sure, sometimes MLP hammers in the moral a bit too much when a more subtle approach would be better. But so what? When it comes to that, or heck, really anything on your list, for every one example of things done wrong, there are a ton more of them done right. That's why we're here. That's why the show has so many fans and so many people wanting to share their thoughts, feelings, and love for MLP. It's because of all those things it does right. And while you have some valid points, Loathing, you're blowing them way out of proportion. You're letting the unimportant get to you and it's blinding you away from the fun. Everything has its faults. Everything could be better, but in the end, it's not about what you could have gotten. It's about whether or not you enjoy what you have.
So, I guess we're not really so different after all, you and I. In the end, all we both want is for this show to be the best it possibly can be.
Pretty much. So, do you admit defeat?
Oh, please. If you think this means you get your channel back, you're crazy. This is mine now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Actually, that's fine.
What?
Yeah, I was going to do a review on Rainbow Rocks, but now you can totally handle it for me. Oh man, you have no idea how much of a relief that was.
I was not looking forward to that.
They made another Equestria Girls movie.
Yeah, only this time they're rock stars, and they play in a band, and Trixie might be the bad guy, and I think there are hamsters in it?
Wow. You know, I just remembered I need to wash my mane that night, and I'm going to be out of town, and wow, would you look at the time? I gotta go, bye.
Well, I still have you, dear listener. At least I know you'll be here to watch Rainbow Rocks with me.
Stay pony, my friends.